Eric, I have a hypothetical question for you.
What do we got?
All right. A sort of a what would you do? All right, you've been on vacation. You're a little exhausted. You come home to your house. You know that feeling after you've had a long trip. You get back to your house, and as you go to open the door, someone on the other side pushes back. And as you're like, what the fuck is going on? You manage to make eye contact with the guy on the other side of the door, and he's like, this isn't your house. What do you do?
Does he look familiar? Just total stranger?
Total stranger. Does not look familiar.
I don't even have a wife, but if I had, is she inside?
No, your wife's with you.
Okay, that's good. I got no house, one wife. I feel like this is that song. What's that song? Oh my god. As the days go by, and he's like, "This is not your beautiful house. This is like the real life version." Of that.
Talking Heads. You're in a talking. You have found yourself in a Talking Heads song.
In the Talking Heads song. I think I feel like this probably makes sense. I probably didn't deserve this house. I probably shouldn't have been living there. You take it, weird man.
Fair enough. I'm going to tell you about how this happened to a real family. This happened semi-recently. It's Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here. Don't change the dial on your spooky haunted radio, you little fucking freaks. Brian and Eric.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here. It's a spooky ghost and weird stuff podcast. I'm Brian. I'm here with Eric. What's up, Eric?
I'm Eric. I have a technical question.
Yes.
I like that song. I like our new intro song that you found so much. If we talk during that intro, does our audio come in? Does it interrupt the song?
It does not, because I mute us.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, no. So I won't be able to hear you either, because I do mute us on. I mute
that's
you,
fine.
really.
There's nothing important, I'm saying. I just want to be able to kind of.
No, I do scream at full volume. It's the song is called Monsters Rule OK by The Viewers. It's in this campy little monster movie called The Monster Club, starring Vincent Price. We cannot legally use that song, but here's the thing. They have to find us.
Yeah, that's a win for us. If we get sued by the rights holders to Monsters Rule OK.
It means we've been found.
Yeah, we did all right. Hey, we're doing okay. We're doing all right.
Eric, how's it going, man?
It's good. You know, there's actually a weird number of like good horror movies out right now, I feel like.
We're entering the spooky season.
I guess it's almost October. Yeah, fuck. Time and seasons have like no meaning to me anymore. Even though quarantine is over, I feel like I'm still trapped in a weird COVID time zone where it's just a real fluid situation. That completely makes sense. I was looking at like my Fandango app and looking at what's in theaters. I saw that movie Barbarian and that movie Pearl.
Oh man, I want to see Barbarian really bad.
Yeah, same. I heard it's good. Pearl looks kind of. Did you ever see X?
I did see X. I wasn't in love with it.
Not great. Okay.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I just saw the trailer for Pearl. That's all I got.
I am curious about Pearl. I do intend to see it at some point. I saw X. I'm not that director, Ty West. He's never done it for me.
Okay. All right.
He was kind of one of, like 10, 15 years ago, he was kind of one of those like horror directors to watch. And I watched him and I've never been impressed. And X didn't really do it for me. But I'm curious about Pearl.
The cool thing about Pearl, from the trailer, is they shoot it to make it look like a very old film,
Yes.
like a kind of colorized black and white kind of film, which is
Yes. X was much the same way, looking very 70s porn grindhousey, kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre-y. It's got some cool stuff. I don't think it's a completely inept movie or anything. Just didn't tickle my intellectual pickle, if you will.
I won't.
Speaking of spooky stuff, though, Eric, I got to tell you about this fucking spooky ass show that I watched.
What do you got?
Have you heard of this phenomenon known as phrogging?
I think so, but I don't want to out myself.
You know what this is.
Have I frogged?
Here's the thing. After you hear about it, I think we're gonna frog. Okay. So I found out about this show from Tim Banal, who's been on the show before. He tweeted about it, and I'm immediately like, I have to check this out immediately. Phrogging is a relatively new phrase. phrogging. For someone living in your house. Or to live in someone's house in secret.
Okay.
Like within crawl space. You've heard stories like that, right?
Yeah, for sure. Why is this called Phrogging? I like that name.
I'm not sure why. The Lifetime show about it, which is just called Phrogging, kind of one of those like I survived genre of shows where people who have experienced this talk about this, and there's cheesy reenactments throughout. Completely my shit. Yeah. They don't actually seem to explain it in the show. However, it seems to have something to do with like a frog, like hopping from lily pad to lily pad. Very, very loose, if you ask me.
Sure. Got it.
I don't think it's a great name, but. Okay, I have here, this was featured in the very first episode of Phrogging. The headline here on a New York Post article about it is, he wanted to play doctor on us. Terrifying stranger secretly lived in our home. I'm going to say I wasn't afraid of this, and now I'm very afraid of it.
It's like the perfect scary, because it's totally plausible.
Like, I live in fucking, Bushwick, and there are ways into my home.
Easily. It's so easy to get into like a New York apartment building. No problem. Just press any button.
Seriously. My wife is, a big... are you paranoid about locked doors? Do you make sure your doors are locked?
No, I probably should be. I'm very sloppy with that. I'm a huge security risk.
Glad we'll put this podcast out.
Yeah, I don't keep a tight perimeter, scary listeners.
But, my wife is very like, my wife is the one who remembers. Like, did you lock the door? Did you lock the door? Like, you can get into our apartment. If someone really wants to get into our apartment, they can get into our apartment.
Yeah.
And that goes for
that door.
And that goes for any home in the United States.
For sure.
Somebody can get in.
You'll get in there. You break a window. It's not hard. I actually saw one of the best Reddit threads I've ever read. One like the best like IMA was a former professional burglar.
Oh wow!
And he just described how easy it is to break into any single home ever, even if it hasn't. It was super smart, dude. He'd bring dog treats, and on his like left elbow, he wore like a hockey like roller skating elbow pad. And he had a glove, and he would just use that. He would just break a window with his elbow, with the pad, unlock the door, feed the dog some treats, grab everything of value, and then just be out in under 2 minutes.
Man.
And just do that all day, and made like a lot of money. Because he felt bad.
Glad guilt was the one that finally.
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting about it is I think he was in some tough financial situation.
Sure.
And he's like, this is a thing I can do.
Right.
And he was really good at it.
There's something beautiful in finding something you're good at.
100%. 100%.
All right, I'm going to read this article directly from the New York Post, and I want you to
I love it.
Stop with any observations you may have about how spooky this is.
Can I just is the movie Parasite like the ultimate example of Phrogging?
I guess that's the perfect example. It's literally pretty much parasiting.
My man's frogging. Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to read directly from the New York Post here. It was the bike sitting outside that tipped off Brittany and James Campbell that something was amiss. The couple and their 2 young sons had been away from their Honolulu home for about a week. They returned home on September 20th, 2019 to find something terrible. James went to open his home's front door, but found he couldn't. A stranger was inside, pulling it closed. Gotta say, this is a bold move on the Phroggers' part.
I was thinking, I feel like if you're the Frogger, your move at that point is just to hide.
Right.
Just let him come in, just hide. Keep the room. Like, you've just given away the whole game.
Yes, definitely. It's a bold strategy. Let's see how it plays out. There is a man peeking through the door. He's trying to hold it shut, and the man says, "This is not your house," very calmly. James, 36, who's in the U.S. Navy, recalls in the new Lifetime true crime show, Phrogging, Hider in My House. The show, which premieres July 18th, examines the crime known as phrogging, in which a stranger sneaks into someone's space and secretly lives there for days, weeks, or even months. The first half of the series premiere focuses on the Campbells' harrowing ordeal. Just wait, this gets fucking crazy. They're lucky to be alive, frankly, Jessica Everlith, the show's executive producer, told the Post. Okay, so James grabbed a sledgehammer for protection and managed to get the man out of the house while Brittany called 911. Once the intruder was in the front yard, James says, "We noticed he was wearing my clothes. Things are getting crazier by the moment." So they went on vacation, and the Frogger was like, "Hey, it's party time, baby."
Would you ever frog? Is there a world where you would frog?
I mean, for fun, no. But, like, you know, if you're desperate and can get away with it, like, if you can pull it off.
I feel like I would find someone with just a massive house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can just keep moving rooms. Stay one step ahead.
If you found a house big enough, I think you could. I do have the impulse, I don't know if you've ever had this, of when I'm in, like, a big enough spot, like, oh, I could probably live here for a little while before anybody noticed.
Yeah, for sure. Or just pretend you, like, work there.
Right. Like,
just have a uniform.
I could get away with this for a little while, I think. Like, a big enough 24-hour Walmart, you know? Like...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Surely someone's done that, right?
Yeah, like what? Like sleep in a Walmart? Just
fully pulled off living in a Walmart.
You know what the original move is? Airports.
Oh, sure. I'm sure. Oh, yeah. That's
like the original move. You just hang out.
Right. I guess you'd have to get a ticket to get in the first place.
Yeah. You just get a cheap ticket and then you never leave.
But yeah, actually, that's not a bad move, right?
You got food right in there. Yeah.
That's honest to God, not too shabby.
You got bathrooms. Yeah,
sure.
We're gonna be frogging out of JFK no time. Why are we paying rent like fools?
Like an idiot. I think the shower is your one, like, problem.
Yes.
But, you know, other than that, I think you could and everything is way overpriced.
I feel like I'm doing a wipe down in the stall.
Yeah, that's your only move.
You know what I mean? I have some kind of water bottle and sponge situation, and that's my whole deal.
Right.
Not ideal.
Not ideal, but neither's living in an airport in the first place. You're not in the airport because everything's going great.
Yeah, if you're frogging in the airport, maybe you're hit a rough.
Okay, so the police arrived and arrested 23-year-old Ezekiel Zayas. But after he was hauled away, the nightmare was just beginning.
No boy.
The inside of their home was utter chaos. Pots and pans were piled on top of each other. In the living room, James's musical equipment had all been taken out. The bedroom was in complete disarray. It was just trashed, Brittany, 37, a stay-at-home mom, told the Post. What they found next was much more upsetting.
Oh, no.
Someone had used one of their old laptops to record disturbing diary entries and details about the family.
Here's the thing. They say someone had done this.
I know.
Clearly the Frogger.
Listen, we can neither confirm nor deny the Frogger is responsible for the creepy journals.
Yeah, innocent until proven guilty on the whole journal thing. Definitely wearing the guy's clothes and living in the house. Journal thing, we don't know.
They were these typed up notes called the Omnivore Trials, a rehabilitation for rat-like people, James says on the show.
Okay.
Now, multiple times they refer to these notes and these omnivore trials. Throughout the notes, the people living in the house, the family, the Campbells, are referred to as the omnivores. And they keep saying it on the show like it's this mysterious word that this Frogger has invented and not a very common word.
That's hilarious.
This mysterious science fiction word.
I always say omnivore.
Okay.
Omnivore. Saying omnivore, it kind of tripped up my brain a little bit there.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
Like, yeah, you know.
I can't say I've said it out loud that many times. You're probably right in its pronunciation.
No, I have no idea. It's definitely a reading word.
Sure. It's one of them book words.
Yeah, one of those reedy words, not a talky word.
This is when we realized the person had been living in our home a lot longer, Brittany told the Post. Brittany noticed knives had been laid out next to the computer, and she found a typed manifesto about gruesome plans for the Campbells, including surgeries such as sexual reconstruction and a hand transplant. He wanted to play doctor on us, and not in a cute little kid way, Brittany said.
I would take a hand transplant.
Just for funsies?
Just a big old hand, like a comically big hand.
Just for no money's involved. Just some mad surgeon is like, yo, you want a hand transplant?
If someone's like, bro, you want a gigantic hand, like a foam #1 hand, but a real hand? I'd think about it. I wouldn't say, no, get away from me. Stop living in my house. I'd be like, well, we'll talk about it.
Let me see the hand at least.
Hash this thing out. How big? What's the recovery like?
Okay. So, she found a video the intruder made on her compuder. He is in the nude.
This is all like real. This is like a totally real thing.
As far as I know, yeah. I will say this Lifetime true crime show at least posits it as real.
That's all I need.
So, this guy had been sitting naked in my chair. To which, and then there's a dash here. That's disgusting. Like, that's the least of your problems, Brittany.
Yeah.
Get over yourself. So, this guy was naked in your house a lot.
I will say that's one thing I've heard from people who've had a break. Did you ever, growing up, did you ever have like a break-in or anything?
No, not that I know of.
When I was very young, my family went out to dinner, and when we came back, the house had been broken into, and it was just like a smash and grab thing. I think it was like teenagers or whatever who stole some jewelry. But it is a weird feeling to know that someone else a stranger has been in your house, that you don't think about.
It's got to be incredibly violating.
Yeah, I mean, I was a kid. I was 5, so I didn't really care or know what was happening. But I remember my parents talking about it. It's just like how weird it is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I can imagine that. So my understanding is based on, it doesn't say it here in the article, but in the episode of the Lifetime show, the wife, Brittany, she would watch like makeup tutorials in the morning.
Oh, God.
And this Frogger on her computer had made like a parody makeup tutorial, kind of like mocking her.
Holy shit, dude.
That's a big no thank you.
I think the most terrifying part of having a Frogger is not a stranger living in your walls who wants to do medical experiments on you, but just a sentient witness to all of your they know about my fucking morning YouTube makeup tutorial routine.
Let me tell you, if you ever were to just view me alone in my bedroom, nothing even salacious, it would simply be disgusting. Just like watching YouTube video, like people talk about video games on YouTube, just eating Cheez-Its off my chest in boxers. Like,
Yeah.
I become an actual. If Emily is gone for any period of time, I quickly revert to a wild animal.
Yeah, we require structure. We need the balance. We need the boundaries.
Once the element of shame is removed from my life, I am disgusting.
It's required. It's a necessary ingredient. Yeah, I feel like we're actually both safe from Phroggers because if either of us had a Frogger for long enough, they would either just flee the premises or come out of the woodwork and be like, hey, "Are you okay? Is everything okay with? I know I'm living in your house, but I don't know how you're doing."
It's possible a Frogger would come out of the wall and be like, "Hey, this is my territory. I'm already frogging here. You can't frog here."
Yeah.
Just
exactly.
confuse me for another Frogger.
Yeah. This is my lily pad, you son of a gun. I hope they call homes lily pads in the frogging community.
I hope so too.
Do you think there's like a Discord? There must be some like dark corner of the internet where Froggers.
Surely there's like frogging advice out there, right?
100%.
It's from the minimal research I did on this. I cannot stress enough. I Google searched one time on the toilet.
That's all you need.
Because that's Brian and Eric Volume 3, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
But like a lot of Froggers, like this is certainly like a worst case scenario when they're taking notes on how to like murder you.
Yeah.
A lot of Froggers obviously don't want to be frogging, and it is an act of like desperation, and have sort of referred to themselves as silent roommates. And are kind of just obviously chilling, trying to stay out of the way, only stealing food out of necessity. I mean, if you're really getting away with it, and I really never know you're there, I guess what's the harm?
Does it really? I got walls. You could be in those, I guess. Kudos to you. You did it.
Right? If you get away with it.
Very impressive. I have so many questions about this. First of all, I don't know if this is not really a frogging, but once long ago, I don't know if I told you the story. I was a member of the. Do you remember couch surfing? That website, couch surfing.
I don't remember a website, but I'm familiar with the premise.
Yeah, it was basically like almost an original like Airbnb, but you could sign up. You had reviews, you had a profile, and it was basically like you could host couch surfers on your couch, and you could surf on other people's couches. Meaning, like they just let you sleep on their couch, and I think it was mostly free. I don't think anybody charged. Like it was just sort of an exchange thing. And I was living in Brooklyn at the time, and this was like, I don't know, 2010, 2011, 2012. And me and my girlfriend thought it'd be like a cool hip thing to do to sign up for couch surfing and start hosting couch surfers so we could like build up our couch surfing karma and go couch surf around. Anyway, the first person we had.
Yeah, I will say I just got to pause you because like this sounds like in a best case scenario kind of cool, but it also feels like the segment of pie that feels like this could go bad is very large.
Dude, I got so suckered in by just like hearing stories of like, yeah, we hosted these cool surfers from Barcelona and had like the weekend of our lives and like whatever. But what actually happened was I picked up a young lady. She actually asked me to meet her at the Port Authority train station.
Oh boy.
Where she was coming in on a bus because she like didn't know how to navigate New York.
Yeah.
And so I did bring her back. It's just all downhill from there.
Oh boy.
Jump cut to she's supposed to leave by Sunday. It's Sunday night. She's not feeling well. Can't leave. Rolls into Monday. It gets to her locked in our bathroom. Pretending to be throwing up. This is like 2 days, like it's Tuesday. And we're like, you have to get the fuck out of our house. Like we're calling the police. And she's like making fake retching noises in the bathroom.
Oh
like,
my God.
Dude, crazy. We finally get her out. It was the wildest experience. Like we literally deadbolted the door, like sliding down the thing. And to this day, I don't know what her deal was. I don't know if she was homeless, if she literally was like a kind of serial Frogger-ish, just like hopping from couch to couch, just staying with people. I don't know what the deal was, but she was like our age. She seemed kind of normal-ish.
Right.
She had like clothing and was well
no immediate red flags. Like
exactly. Yeah, exactly. You get a nude couch surfer. Now you're really surfing. Now you're really in it.
That's
crazy.
it's simultaneously like, oh man, that's terrifying, or terrible, but also like, yeah, that's about what I could have guessed would have happened.
Yeah, no, 100. Yeah, exactly. Anybody who has common sense and knew that scenario would be like, yes, of course, dude. You invited a stranger to stay in your house for free. Like, what do you... But it was just a weird thing of being like, there's a human in my house who won't leave. And it's like a young lady. I'm not going to like fight her. You know, I'm like, please just leave. And she's like, no. You know?
Jesus.
Touche, I guess.
Yeah, my bad.
yeah, exactly.
All right, we're on the tail end of this article here. It starts slowly. Things go missing, said Everlith, adding that people are more apt to believe they are living with a ghost than a long-term trespasser.
I prefer the ghost.
Right. And this is the on the show they talk about this of like it starts with a door they know they locked was unlocked. The mom was mad that a blanket went missing. The blanket had sentimental value to her. She was mad she couldn't find the blanket, and then they came home later and the blanket was like nicely folded up on the couch. And so they were like, ghost. Nope, it was just a man.
Dude. So here's my question. If you're a Frogger in this, so for this example with the couple, I'm assuming they had like a kind of normal sized house-ish.
Yeah.
Where is he staying? Like, how is he staying hidden? Where is he in like the attic or some shit?
I believe it was the attic. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I watched this. I believe it was the attic. There's one more section here in the article. Maybe that gets to it. So we got here mysterious origins. The term phrogging, which is said to originate from frogs leaping from place to place, is pronounced phrogging, has only been coined in recent years, but the crime itself has been occurring for decades. A&E's True Crime blog notes a 1986 case in which Daniel LaPlante, 17, found a hiding spot in the home of Tina Bowen, a teen with whom he was obsessed. LaPlante taunted the family by doing things such as drinking leftover milk. That's the Eric Brenner phrogging mode.
Oh yeah, that's how you know. That's how you know I've been there, when your milk is just mysteriously.
Hey, what happened to my milk? This is just a beautiful cherubic blonde boy just guzzling down your leftover milk.
Wearing your bathrobe.
LaPlante taunted escalated Tina and held Tina and other members of the family hostage. According to the blog, Tina eventually escaped and called for help. Sometimes a Frogger has a parasitic attachment to the homeowner or home itself. It is terrifying. Unlike squatters who look for empty, abandoned spots, Froggers aren't deterred by occupants. It takes until the moment the owner or renter sees something such as a hand or footprint, comes face to face with the intruder, or catches them on some sort of surveillance camera to figure out what's going on. It is still unclear how Zayas got into the Campbells' two-story house or how long he lurked there, but the journal mentioned very personal details about them, such as the fact that Brittany was undergoing fertility treatments, which the couple hadn't shared with anyone. So even if he was in like an attic, he clearly had to have like wall access, you know?
Yeah, it's like if he's watching her do those makeup tutorials and everything. That's crazy.
Right. Zayas was...
There was a... Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
He was charged with burglary. He was then released. And then shortly after, he was arrested again for vandalizing a Buddhist temple.
Weird.
Oh. And then in 2020, while in a correctional facility for that crime, he killed a fellow inmate. So he was largely locked away for that murder, not really the phrogging.
So this guy is clearly...
This is an ill man. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This is not like a fun case of phrogging. Like a little zany phrogging adventure.
No, this was a ill man and was probably very not safe to have. Do I think he would have made rat-like people or rat-human hybrids? Probably not, but still not good to have a mentally ill person living in your walls, right? We can just agree that's not good.
He might have tried. There's one video that I don't know if it's fake or not. Probably fake.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
The woman who like lowers herself down from
Yup.
the vent
Yup.
in the kitchen.
Yup. I'll
Woo!
include that on the blog. That is I don't think that's where I don't think I can do some true frogging. I think I'd get into
Yeah, we don't have the parkour skills. We would get in a I would get stuck in a vent so fast.
So we're frogging together. You bust through the vent. You get Winnie the Pooh in the vent. I fall down. Meanwhile, as the guy's like moving around.
We would be the worst frogging duo. Just afraid of the dark, too big to scramble around, very hungry all the time.
Yeah, JFK is our only shot, buddy.
Yeah, we got to be airport frogs. We're more of the toad variety, if you will. Yo, so I found on the real estate tipster website, which I guess is for real estate investors, there's a whole article about tips for dealing with fraud. Do you have a frogging problem? Here's what to do. He's got examples, frogging versus squatting. There's something called the Phroggers Code. Most froggers live by a certain set of rules to avoid detection. The three foremost ones are they don't leave messes behind. They clean up after themselves so they don't leave any traces of their presence.
Makes sense.
They avoid stealing, at least beyond consumables like food, water, and basic toiletries. They avoid any confrontation or interaction with their unwitting hosts. Not every frogger follows these rules, of course, but the most successful ones do.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I guess it helps prevent getting caught, and also maybe helps lessen your legal trouble when you do. Of like, I didn't take anything. I was just kind of desperate.
Dude,
Interesting.
This is crazy. It's literally sort of framing it as like kind of a problem you have to deal with as like a real estate investor.
Crazy.
It's like a thing that sort of can happen.
I wonder how. I'm sure it's not that common, right?
Yeah, I feel like because it's got to be so hard to get away with.
I can't. That said, I mean, if you needed a place to frog, my apartment's not the hardest. We have.
You've got some spare rooms.
I've got some spare rooms, and then over my bathroom there's space up there. There, a panel lifts up, and there's a large amount of space up there. There's some I believe maybe the water heater's up there. It's between the roof and the apartment. I think someone could make that work. I don't know how someone could get up and down easily, but someone could.
Imagine how brutal that's got to be if you're frogging in someone's bathroom, above someone's toilet.
Oh God! Unless that was your thing.
Yeah.
That's the only way. Hey, that's the only way I can imagine getting through it.
Unbelievable. Brian, can I give you a quick UFO update?
Please do.
So remember when I excitedly texted you the logo of that government agency that has the UFO on it?
Okay, so yeah, you excitedly texted me a new. I'm pulling it up right now. There was a government agency, the Air Domain Intelligence, saying they had a new seal, and on it in the left-hand corner was a little UFO.
I mean, it's a UFO clear as day.
Yep.
That seal has been taken down and replaced.
Okay.
With a completely innocuous, it's just an eagle over a regular airplane.
So you had sent me the link before. You sent me a picture of it and then a link. And I'm going to be real. I did not do my diligence. I did not click the link. I just took it at your word.
I only sent the link to be like, hey, this is part of this. This is not just a random logo I found. This belongs to literally .mil website.
Right. So was that up on that webpage?
Yeah, it was up on the webpage. It was their literal logo, seal, whatever for that service. Huh. And it's totally replaced and gone now.
Straight. So was it like a hack?
No. I think it was their legit thing. And then probably they started, it got picked up on Twitter or whatever, and they realized how much visibility it was getting.
Yeah.
And so they changed it. Or the more fun conspiratorial angle here is that it was like a signal. And when
There
enough
you go.
people saw it, they switched it out as like a little wink. Like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
we know, you know, we know, you know, kind of deal.
Because that's, of course, how this works.
It's the only way. It's the only way. We can't just say anything directly.
Speaking of UFOs, over this weekend, okay, I'll tell the story a little more theatrically, I guess, a little more dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Maine this past weekend.
Oh, nice.
Which visiting my sister-in-law, and man, you want a good like October or like late September experience. Maine is not going hard enough on getting ready for it. Was like I'm like a bird of like the second it gets cold, like my natural instincts like it's Halloween time. It's time for spooky movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And Maine, it's like actually chilly in mid-late September, and like, oh, this is perfect. But my father-in-law, my in-laws were with us, gets a text from my sister-in-law of a picture of this bright light in the sky that she and her boyfriend saw. And it was like, her dad's an engineer who's worked with the government. And it was like, what the fuck is this? And sure enough, there were a lot of sightings of this bright light streaking across the sky in New York, New Jersey, all the way down to Florida.
Yep.
It was a SpaceX satellite launch. It's part of their like World Link thing.
Dude, I saw that also. I was driving. I actually thought what I thought it was I thought it was like a helicopter.
Okay.
Like a distant helicopter with a searchlight, because it's kind of got that weird
It had like a
light.
tail, yeah. It had
exactly. And I was like, there's no way. I'm too much of a freak. There's no way I actually see a real. I was sort of driving. I stopped at a light and I was like, that's nothing.
It was funny of like the reports said it because it launched from Florida. And the reports I saw were saying like, oh, it was seen as far up as New York, New Jersey, but we were in Maine and my sister-in-law saw it. But so what was funny about that was I'm subscribed to all like the UFO subreddits on Reddit.
Sure.
And like it was a post after post after post after post of like, what is this? Of this clearly documented, easy to find, like what the scheduled satellite launch.
100%.
And like, so you have to like, that's the kind of research that UFO enthusiasts are doing on Reddit. So you have to take everything they say with a grain of salt. But B, how many people like didn't look up satellite launch, like did no research on their own, and are going around like, are going to like in the future, you're going to hear this crazy fucking story that is going to warp over the times they tell it. And it's just the satellite launch. And how many times has that happened?
And I will say too, it does sort of pull the rug out from under the UFO stuff in another way, which pains me to say it because I am a huge UFO fan and kind of like just want aliens. Here's my fantasy with aliens and UFO stuff is my fantasy is if they just landed tomorrow, all bets are off. It's like the ultimate walking out of your job. Like nothing matters. I mean, like our obligation, like debt, like student loan debt. Like what are you talking?
Aliens are here.
What is money? What's this green paper we're talking?
I'm going to space, baby.
Yeah, just like just robbing a store. And there's aliens. It's just.
I'm literally imagining you in like with like a cartoon briefcase and a hat, and just like, well, I gotta go.
Well, the aliens are here. Just excuse for everything. It's the ultimate get out of jail free card. But so think about this. There's one satellite launch. I don't know how many satellites were being launched that people saw those all over the country. But like everybody saw them.
Right.
You think if there's a UFO hovering over, everybody's going to see it in the same way.
Very true. Right. Incredibly true.
Like, I'm literally just at a stoplight. Like, oh, there's a giant light in the sky. Okay. Like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. That is an incredible point. Of like, there's so many points of people seeing this thing.
Like, undeniable, irrefutable, because it happened in reality.
Right. And so, I mean, like, granted, like, not everyone can see like a plane, but a plane's
Sure,
obviously much
exactly.
smaller than the satellite.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
like our idea of a interdimensional spacecraft, yeah, the real point against.
so makes me so sad.
Do you? I'm willing to bet on aliens. I'll put this down now. I'm willing to bet the reality, like what the government knows, I bet is both more interesting and less interesting than we think. Like both at once. I bet it's a lot of very subtle, boring shit and maybe not interesting in the way like we hope. But I'm sure there's something interesting there.
I feel like there must be. I don't know. It'll be. Did you see? So I don't know if you've been tracking like current events this evening, but it appears that there was just some kind of sabotage on the Russian Nord Stream pipeline.
Oh, really?
It's like leaking oil, into the North Sea, I think. And nobody knows who did it, if it's a natural malfunction, if the Russians sabotaged their own thing, or the US did it, or some other European country, or whatever. But I'm just saying, if World War III kicks off, I feel like that's the cue for the aliens to truly be like, things are okay, are getting a little out of hand.
All right, we're stepping in, guys.
Yeah,
all right, we've been frogging on your planet.
Yeah, exactly.
But now it's time
for aliens are the ultimate frogs.
That's it. It's all connected. Like the listeners can't see this, but behind me, I have a giant board with yarn. I'm tangled up in it. It's all connected.
There's only two. There's just a picture of an alien and a picture of a frog, and they're connected by a single red thread.
I don't believe in overcomplicating it.
Yeah, we figured it out. The truth is simple. There's an elegance to it.
When inevitably we sell T-shirts for this podcast, which of course we will. Look at our numbers, Eric. Of course we will. It's just going to be frog, UFO, red thread between.
What if we made a T-shirt for every episode?
Great.
Just pick one little stupid throwaway line, make a T-shirt.
There we go. That's the move. That's how we will become lunch famous.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to be lunch famous. I forgot about that. I forgot about our quest to be lunch famous. I didn't even have lunch today. We're not lunch famous.
The fuck is it? Yeah, no.
Let alone free lunch. Crazy.
Any other thoughts on UFOs?
No, that's all I got. I just thought that was interesting that they took down this fun logo, because that was, and also like, just if you guys haven't seen this, and I'm sure you could find screenshots.
I'll include a picture on the blog.
It's not like, oh, could that be a UFO? Like, no, it's clearly like a classical saucer.
50s sci-fi saucer.
Supposed to be a UFO.
Yeah, 100%. Very weird. Very
strange.
I must have been like kind of a joke. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I will say there's that famous clip of Obama on, I think, the Jimmy Kimmel show, and he's straight up like, I don't know if there's aliens or not, but I can tell you, as the former president of the United States, there's definitely stuff in the sky, and we don't know what it is.
Oh man, no.
I'll send you the link to the clip. It's pretty crazy.
I have something else here that I found that was kind of funny. This is weird. I found this on paranormalcatalog.net. New York TV station broadcasts bizarre warning before Hoboken train crash. What? This is completely unrelated to everything else.
I love it. No, yeah, let's dive in.
Okay, the message, this appeared on several TV stations the night before a train crash in Hoboken. Across like a red ticker on several news stations was, could you on a train?
Okay.
The night before a fatal train crash, I'm just reading directly from paranormalcatalog.net. The night before a fatal train crash at Hoboken Station in New Jersey, this was 2016, an eerie message appeared on television screens around the country. Some believe that it was a warning. The Hoboken Terminal is a commuter train station in Hoboken, Hudson County, New Jersey. More than 50,000 people use the Hoboken Terminal every day. On the day of the accident, the 29th of September, 2016, we're about to hit an anniversary of that. The Passaic Valley Line train number 1614 left the Spring Valley station at New York at 7:23 a.m., intending to arrive at Hoboken at 8:45 a.m. The driver of the train had an undiagnosed sleep apnea and fell asleep at the helm. Witnesses at the Hoboken station reported that the train didn't slow down to stop as it arrived. Here's the thing I apparently didn't know. I figured all of that was automated at this point.
Dude, I was thinking this, how do train conductors still have a job? Like, it just, you can't, there's nothing to steer. You could just, it should slow, when it's got to slow down.
We have cars that drive themselves. You're telling me the train can't just do it? It goes in a straight line.
Dude, the other thing is like, okay, you get on the 7:23 train. This thing is like, an hour. Like, you're not expecting anything to happen. A train wreck? It's a literal train wreck.
Right. That is what that word means.
Yeah, exactly.
Hoboken Station is at the end of the line, so the train plowed through the bumper block and the rail concourse, eventually coming to rest at the wall right before the waiting area of the station. The accident caused portion of the station's roof and walls to collapse. Major structural damage to both the station and the train were reported. 114 people were injured, and there was one death. This is where things get extra spooky, according to paranormalcatalog.net. The night before the tragic accident at Hoboken, a strange warning message appeared on TVs across the United States, including in the New York area near where Hoboken is located. I'm laughing because this is already very silly. An emergency scrolling message appeared across the bottom of the screen, which read, "Civil authorities have issued a hazardous material warning for the United States, effective until September 29th, 2:16 a.m. EDT. Could you on a train? Wait for further instructions." Could you on a train? Wait for further instructions. This bizarre message appeared as an emergency warning on TV. You said that already. Thanks, paranormalcatalog.net. FEMA claims that a software engineer was running tests on their system and accidentally sent out a live emergency broadcast rather than a test one. To add to the confusion, WKTV claimed that it wasn't FEMA that sent out the message, but their alert system had been hacked, and they were trying to figure out where it had come from. No one seems to know how the could you on a train message was added to the standard emergency broadcast. Conspiracy theories online have abounded following the incident, suggesting that perhaps the message was a spy code or terrorist code telling an agent to cause the accident. Others believe the message may be paranormal in origin. Perhaps a spirit or time traveler was trying to warn us about the impending accident. So why this caught my interest is because I found it out. Someone posted it on the R High Strangeness subreddit. That's kind of the it's all connected trickster gods thing.
Yeah,
and that was post after post. I can't tell how many of these are ironic and how many are genuine, but I think this is one of the genuine ones. Feel free to correct me if you anyone on Twitter is like, no, that's a very silly subreddit. But it was just post after post of like, this is spooky. This is extra spooky. Like, this is legit. And it's so funny how it has so many holes just from the outset.
Yeah, from the jump. I mean, it is. I will say this. That is weird, I guess. But the only connection is the word train.
Right. It's just it was like it'd be way creepier if it was just in the New York, New Jersey area, right?
Exactly.
It's also like it's the article even says including New York, which is you're right, near New Jersey.
Yeah. It's not actually New Jersey.
So it was broadcast nationally. I'll also say like, could you on a train strikes me as like, I don't, maybe somebody was like testing the ticker system and like was just typed a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Maybe green eggs and ham was in there. It's green eggs and ham. Maybe just typed a little bit that they remembered in there just to extend the length to make sure like the ticker was going correctly, and then that didn't get deleted properly. And like I said, it broadcast nationally. Terrorist sleeper cell incidences seem unlikely, considering it was a nothing station in Hoboken.
Yeah.
And even though the
I'm
damage is terrible,
I'm sad there's not more like TV hacking.
right?
Who was that guy? There's that
Max
famous
Headroom, right?
Max Headroom. Exactly. I'm thinking of Max. I'm sad there's not like a big Netflix hack
Right?
that happened.
Right?
Like someone like inject some weird fucking video onto the front page of Netflix.
Is that Max Headroom? Max Headroom appears to be a
Yeah, I think so.
Max Headroom is a guy, but I don't. He seems to be like a planned character that was on British television. I don't. Oh, here we go. Okay. Here's what it is. Okay, so Max Headroom is a fictional artificial intelligence character portrayed by actor Matt Frewer, advertised as the first computer-generated TV presenter. Max he was kind of a parody of the 1980s. However, I have here on the Wikipedia, we have Television Hijack. On November 22nd, 1987, an unidentified person wearing a Max Headroom mask and costume carried out a broadcast signal. So he wasn't invented for that. He was wearing a Max Headroom outfit.
Yeah, he was referencing Max Headroom.
Kind of it kind of sounds like an early version of like everyone wearing that V for Vendetta mask a little bit.
Exactly.
It seems exact like let's see. Carried out a broadcast signal hijacking of 2 television stations in Chicago, Illinois. During each signal interruption, the hijacker speaks in distorted audio and stands before a swiveling corrugated panel to mimic Max Headroom's geometric background effect. He referenced Max Headroom's endorsement of Coca-Cola, the TV series Clutch Cargo, WGN anchor Chuck Swirsky, and all the world newspaper nerds, a reference to WGN's call letters, which stands for World's Greatest Newspaper. The first Max Headroom incident was a 25 seconds during a sports segment of WGN TV's 9 p.m. news broadcast. Approximately 2 hours later, the second signal hijacking was about 90 seconds during PBS affiliates WTTW's broadcast of Doctor Who, the episode Horror of Fang Rock. The second video ended with the hijacker apparently exposing buttocks and being spanked by a fly swatter. Normal programming quickly then resumed. These video pirates have never been identified.
I like how they didn't really do anything.
Right? That has to just be one of those, like, I think we can do this.
Yeah. All right, hit my butt with the swatter.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap.
I mean, if it's the 1980s, that's scandalous.
That is scandalous. That's pretty legit. Someone was talking about, I heard the phrase vulgar wave floating around the internet, and they're talking about how it's like there's a period of pop culture from like the 90s to the early 2000s that was purely targeted at like kind of like adolescent guys. And it's like the era of like Jackass and like kind of like punk rock, and just it's so funny.
I love that. I love that shit.
Yeah, it's great. It's solid. Caught the tail end. Dude, so funny. Max Headroom.
If you could hijack a national broadcast for a moment, what would you do with it? You have 90 seconds, and you can do anything you want. They'll never find you.
That is a great question. I don't know. What do you do with 90 seconds on national TV?
Baba Booey, 90 seconds.
Just Baba Booey it, just pure Baba Booey. Probably the fly swatter butt move. Yeah. That is the comment.
Honestly,
that just always comes back to that.
And then mixed with a please listen to our podcast. Please, for the love of God.
You got to plug the pod. Yeah, exactly, 100%. You got to do the pod intro. Solicit any open phrogging opportunities.
Yeah, if anyone...
It's open to a frogger.
If you know anything about a phrogging, please reach out.
Yeah, have you seen a phrogging? Dude, I'm so afraid I have a frog in the house.
I'm looking up right now at it. There's another little panel that leads up into the ceiling. And a squirrel fell through that one time. I don't know if I've talked about that on the show. We have had at one point squirrels in our ceiling. And one fell through. Thank God we were home. If we came home,
alive or dead?
Oh, it was alive and pissed.
Wow.
pissed.
Yeah,
Went
yeah,
on an absolute just ape. This is how long I've lived in Brooklyn. I was in the bathroom, fully pants around my ankles, and I just hear Emily scream, "Brian, there's a squirrel in the house," and it was just one of those like, "All right, I'll be right there." Not
Yeah,
like
we got a squirrel.
what, not like how, just like, yeah, no, this may as well fucking happen
Yeah,
today.
we have a squirrel now. Squirrels will fuck your shit up.
Right,
Dude,
right.
they'll go bananas.
Yeah.
You're right. If it's like if you're not home, they will just go nuts.
It would have, that would have been really, really, if we had come home to that, that would have been really, really bad.
And that's probably a dirty squirrel.
You're probably not the
not a
best,
very
probably not
clean-
the most hygienic, cleanest squirrel.
So let me ask you, what did you do?
It's all kind of a blur. It was all pretty fast. We opened up a window, and then it was like Emily had a broom, I had a broom, and we just sort of like shepherded it towards the window. The incident went pretty smooth overall, considering a squirrel had fallen into my apartment.
That's pretty impressive. What, did it just fall through like a hole in your ceiling?
So we have this kind of like panel. When we moved in our air conditioner, we have central AC. Ooh la la, we're very bougie. That's a luxury in Brooklyn. Let me say that.
Dude, central AC is nice.
I don't know how I'll leave it again. But so there's these panels, and it wasn't working when we moved in. And the guys came in to like check it out, and they opened up all these panels, but then didn't replace them. So we had to like shoddily kind of put them together, and they don't place super easy.
Yeah, sure.
And so it was sort of like I had the lid of this panel like kind of just like resting on the like the ledges of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Very precariously. So I think this squirrel just stepped on it and it kind of collapsed through. And it was in the office. It was in this very room that I'm recording in.
So you have been frogged by a squirrel.
I have been frogged by a squirrel.
Wow.
So there you go. Some real interspecies mingling.
You're doing it.
I'm doing it. Eric, I think we're about out of time. Any final thoughts here? We covered a lot. We covered phrogging. We covered UFOs. We covered mysterious signals.
No, I'm just going to go literally systematically check every single closet in my house right now.
That is the only smart move. This is Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here. It's a podcast. We come out on Wednesdays. We're on Twitter at Brian and Eric Pod. We have a website, briananderic.show. I guess that's our link to our Discord's there. You can come hang out with us. I guess that's it. I guess that's everything. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Good night.